So this is probably going to be the hardest video that I've ever made for my channel. This is just something that's extremely hard for me to talk about and something that I never fully planned on opening up to everybody about. Now, I've spent a lot of time thinking about whether I was going to talk about this, whether I was going to make a video about it. Like, I just didn't know if it was the right thing to do. I didn't know like what the right thing to say is. Like, I literally have no idea. Like, I'm coming into this video with no intentions of what exactly I want to say. I'm kind of just going with it. I was really scared to talk about this and to open up about this because people can be so judgmental, and it's just something it's not talked about a lot. For me, the biggest reason why I want to open up now and why I want to talk about it now is because when I was first going through my symptoms, and even now today, I feel like nobody talks about this. Nobody talks about having PTSD from domestic violence and being in a bad relationship. Like, it's just not talked about. And when I was first going through PTSD symptoms, I was so scared and I felt so alone. Like, I felt like nobody could relate to me. Nobody understood me. I felt like I was the only person in the world going through this. I was just seeing all these people get out of relationships and not talk about having issues with PTSD and not talking about having issues with domestic violence. We know how popular domestic violence is, but we never hear about the PTSD following a domestic violence relationship. So during the time period when I was first experiencing my PTSD symptoms, I felt extremely alone. And I would say it was definitely one of the darkest times in my entire life, because, you know, it was just to the point where I felt like I was crazy and I felt like nobody was going to understand me, and I didn't think it made any sense that being in a bad relationship could cause me to end up so up. That's why I'm making this video. I'm making this video and I'm opening up about this topic and this subject so that people like me feel like they can relate to somebody. Like, that is the biggest problem I had when I was going through this for the first time. I felt like there was nobody I could relate to. It's such a scary feeling to feel like nobody relates to you and to feel just completely alone in your symptoms and like in your body. Like, I felt like I was living in my own personal hell because I just felt so misunderstood and so alone and so, you know, unrelatable. Everybody was kind of just like, what are you talking about? So I first started noticing symptoms of PTSD when I was actually still dating Josh. There were a lot of traumatic things that were happening in the relationship. I was at the point where I no longer wanted to be in the relationship, but I didn't actually have a choice. So when I say I didn't have a choice, you know, I was being threatening my life, threatening to take my kids, threatening to hurt me, and he made it pretty much impossible for me to break up with him. If I would even bring up the topic, I was getting choked. I was getting screamed at. It got to the point where it wasn't worth it to even bring up the fact that I was unhappy anymore. I kind of just had to deal with it because I was so scared that something bad was going to happen to me or the kids. So all these traumatic things were happening, and a majority of the fights and the bad things that happened at night. And I started to notice that once it would become nighttime, I would get, you know, extreme anxiety, paranoia, I wouldn't sleep well, like all these weird things were happening, and I wasn't really sure what they were. And I kind of like brought it up to Josh a little bit because obviously we were still living together, we were still in a relationship, so we still did have conversations. And, you know, he like tried to make fun of me and say that, oh, I'm probably just have schizophrenia. And I was like, oh my god, that really started the whole me not talking about any type of weird feelings that I was having, because I was like, what if I'm like super messed up and I have schizophrenia? Like, I don't know. I didn't know what was wrong with me. I knew I didn't have schizophrenia, but I knew something was not right. But like I said, there were so many traumatic things that happened. I mean, he overdosed multiple times and I had to take him to the hospital. He stole my car in the middle of the night. He broke into my house in the middle of the night. One time he did it by throwing a rock through the window, waking me up, screaming at me in the middle of the night, waking up to things stolen in the middle of the night. Just all these really, really bad things were happening, and almost all of it happened at nighttime. So nighttime became like this giant trigger for for all these weird feelings and emotions for me, and I didn't really understand what's going on. By the grace of God, the relationship finally ended thanks to my family intervening and kind of saying, Josh, you're not allowed to stay here. They're staying in my house with me, and they were basically protecting me from him. So I honestly would say that they saved my life. And things as far as my mental state just got worse from there. Like, I thought everything was gonna get better, and like things were better. It was nice to be at home during the day and not like have to deal with him anymore. But my PTSD symptoms just completely escalated out of control. I was no longer sleeping at night. I would literally stay up all night till I could see sunshine and then take a nap before the kids woke up. I would pace around the house and I would look out the windows. You can actually see right there where I peek out of my blinds. Like, I don't do it as much anymore. I have gotten a little better. But if I'm home alone, I'm freaked out. Super freaked out. Obviously, like anxiety, paranoia, that is two very big things that I deal with. You know, just like pacing around the house, making sure the doors are locked, checking on the kids. And then when I could sleep, it was like constant nightmares. The most awful, horrible, disgusting nightmares. I've had so many different dreams and scenarios of him hurting me, of him killing me, of him taking Lyle, like just this horrible, 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 horrible nightmares to where I just couldn't sleep anymore. I couldn't sleep because I was nervous. I couldn't sleep because I knew if I went to sleep I was gonna have nightmares. And it was just like the most awful feeling in the world, and I felt so alone. Like, I felt like there was nobody. Nobody talks about this, and I just was like, oh my God, I'm literally going crazy and I don't know what to do anymore. Like, and I was so scared that I was gonna just be so consumed with this forever. And then it started to carry over into the daytime to where I was literally running from my car to my house. I was scared to leave my house. I would be driving down the road and I would literally be like looking in the cars around me trying to see if he was in one of the cars driving. It just got to be so crazy and so out of control. At that point I didn't have any health care. Like, I was on layoff from work. I had no health care. And even when I do have health care, I don't have mental health care. Still to this day, I don't have mental health care. I decided to talk to a friend who has a psychologist degree. Just talk to her. I explained to her everything I was feeling, everything that was going on, and she was like, you have PTSD, and I couldn't believe it. Now I keep talking to you guys about it as PTSD, but at the time I had no name for it. I had no idea what it was. And when she told me it was PTSD, like, I couldn't believe it, because I was like, PTSD is something that soldiers have. It's something that like people who've gone through some serious shit have. And she was like, you have gone through some serious. This is your body's way of dealing with the stuff that happened. At that point, it felt great to finally have like an idea of what's wrong with me and have a name for it and have the reason why I'm going through all this, and it felt really, really good. But at the same time, I still felt like I was in this dark hole because nobody was talking about it. Nobody was talking about PTSD after a domestic violence relationship. This is so scary for me to share with everybody, but it's so important because I pray to God that somebody who is in my shoes, who's feeling so scared and crazy and alone, comes across this video and feels like they can freaking relate. Because not being able to relate to anyone is one of the scariest feelings in the world. Having nobody understand your feelings and your thoughts is one of the scariest feelings in the world. It is so important to me to bring to light this problem, because I guarantee you there are so many people out there who are dealing with the same symptoms and have no idea what's wrong with them. They just feel like they're crazy. And there's so many people out there who know what their symptoms are, who know they have PTSD, but hear nobody talking about it because it's so not talked about. I just want other people to not feel alone, because that was the lowest point in my life. I mean, I felt like it just hurt. And I know a lot of people don't. Like, I love Josh's family to death. And I know a lot of people like don't want me to talk about this because they don't want him to be made out to be a bad guy. He has mental problems, so they think I shouldn't talk bad about him, but it doesn't change the fact that he did really horrible things to me that affected me to the point where I'm not even myself anymore. I just, like, I don't want anybody to judge me. I don't want anybody to think that I'm dumb or I'm stupid for feeling like this over being abused. My symptoms got the worst after a certain phone call. So I was driving in the car and he was calling me and I answered, and I had been ignoring him for a little while. This was after we broke up and before he ended up in jail. And in the phone call, he told me that I don't know how many times he's laid next to me in bed and thought about killing me. He told me that killing me would make being in prison worth it. That he would be so happy to sit in prison for the rest of his life knowing I was dead. He told me how he would kill me by slitting my throat and watching me bleed to death in the kitchen. He told me that he would make a sandwich and eat it over my dead body. And I just like broke down in tears and I said, why would you say something so messed up to me? And he said, because it's true. He said, I hate you. I wish I could kill you. And I will kill you. And I hung up. And I just cried because I honestly fully believe he would kill me. And a month later, he went to jail for strangling his family member till they passed out. Now he's in jail for trying to take a police officer's weapon and fighting with them. Trying to take a gun out of a holster of a police officer. Obviously, you guys know he does drugs. So when you're on drugs, you don't think the same. And you make crazy ass decisions. And mix that in with his mental illness, I 100% believe he would kill me. And it's so scary to live in a world with somebody who is like out to get you, who wants to kill you, who wants to cause harm to you, who wants to hurt you. Like, I cannot explain the horrible ass fear I have to live with. And I do a lot better when he is in jail and I know like I'm safe. I feel safe. Right now I'm in safe mode. I have a safe mode and I have an unsafe mode. Safe mode is where he's in jail. I can check on my phone. I check on my phone weekly. It used to be daily, now it's become weekly. I check on my phone and I can look and see that he's still inside the jail. And then, you know, unsafe mode, I'm just like completely crazy. Like, I'm just a mess. I'm paranoid. I'm scared. I'm scared for me and I'm scared for Lyle. It's the worst feeling in the world to live your life like that. To live your life constantly on edge and constantly scared. I've gotten so much better. 95% of the time, I'm either staying with my boyfriend or he's staying at my house. And that is like my ultimate peace, is having him here. I just, like, he makes me feel so safe. And I don't know what I would have done if I didn't end up with him. And that scares me. But it's been such a blessing to have him, and he has helped me so much. I have nights where I'm not so strong, and tonight's kind of one of those nights. But I'm trying to take this problem and turn it into something better. And I want to talk about it. I'm gonna talk about it. I know there's people, even my own boyfriend, he says, do you really want to put that out there? And he is my biggest supporter. He is my rock. He just knows that people are gonna judge me and people are gonna have things to say, and he doesn't know if I should talk about it. And it's just like, I'm talking about it. I decided tonight I'm talking about it. I'm not keeping it to myself anymore because I can help somebody. I know I can, because I I know if I came across this same exact video when I was first going through all my problems, it would have helped me so much. It would have helped me so much. And like I said, I'm getting better, guys. I'm getting so much better. I don't check in people's cars anymore. I haven't done that in a really long time. I'm not scared at all during daytime at all anymore. Even though I am in safe mode now. I haven't had a nightmare in a while, but it's just, you know, being alone at night. I mean, this is the house where all this stuff happened, and he knows where I live. And I know that he's in jail, but like, your subconscious, I think, is super irrational and thinks that something bad's still gonna happen. And, you know, it's hard to sleep at night. But yeah, guys, I'm getting better. Things are improving, but relationship gave me PTSD. And I want you guys to know out there who are like me, you're not alone, and it's gonna be okay. And anyone who wants to talk to me about this, feel free to DM me, shoot me a DM, leave a message. I mean, I totally understand if you want to talk to me about it privately, because trust me, I can't believe I'm even making this video and I'm about to post this. I love you guys so freaking much. And I thank you guys for watching. Please be kind in the comments and in my messages, because I am kind of nervous. But I love you guys. Thank you for watching.